Thank you so much for joining us, Commander Salmanu.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, viewers.
It's a pleasure. Now, General Musa warned that Nigeria has a lot to lose if the three countries do not return to democratic rule. What exactly does losing a lot entail in terms of economic, security, and social terms?
You have to look at from the prism, perhaps, where General Musa is speaking about, because these countries that you mentioned, first of all, we have border at least more than 1,000 kilometers with Niger. And these countries are also contiguous, having sharing borders up to. So anything that's happening in Mali, anything that's happening in Burkina Faso, and up to here, up to Niger, has direct implication on what happens here in Nigeria. We have connectivity in terms of movement of people, in terms of trade, and in terms of even geography, because all of us are within the same geographical zone. So when governance or lack of it happens in those areas or in those countries, the implication or the effect boomerangs, and we can feel the heat here. I give an example, and I think that's where he's talking from. He emphasized the fact that there is a lot of poverty in those areas. And with poverty, there is a direct relationship between the level of poverty and the level of instability in a particular space. So also in those countries. So if there are no dividends of democracy, if governance is not responsive and responsible for the people, there is the likelihood that there will be resentments. There is the likelihood that people feel hopeless, and a feeling of despondency comes up, and government therefore unable to provide for their people. The level of insecurity increases. Once there is insecurity in your neighbors or with the people that share border, it's something that you have to be worried about. And I guess that's where he's talking from, that if Niger and the other countries do not return to democratic rule, and I want to add here, democratic rule meaning good governance, not paying lip service to democracy, but being responsible both economically and so on to the people, that we stand a lot we stand a lot of risk. There's a lot of effect that's going to affect us here in Nigeria.
Okay, now I'm being told that Chidi Omeje, Security Affairs Analyst, has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us, Chidi. All right, so you've heard, what General Musa and also Commander Salmanu has actually said, talking about some factors that would, how we're connected, and, whatever happens in these countries reflects in Nigeria as well. He also mentioned poverty, climate change, and lack of political will, which are major issues in these countries. Can you explain to us how these factors are interlinked and directly threaten Nigeria's stability?
Yeah, I think my understanding was that he was trying to give us some kind of the root cause analysis. It's a lot about the drivers of insecurity.
Hello, Mr. Chidi. We can barely make out what you're saying. Are you using an earpiece?
Is it better?
No, if you're using an earpiece, you would love for you to just, speak to us directly instead.
I'm not using any earpiece. I mean, just talking direct.
All right, we'll try to reconnect with you, Chidi. Now, let's come back to you, Commander Salmanu. What concrete measures, is Nigeria taking to shield itself from the spillover effects of the instability?
I think the first thing is to reevaluate our stance in terms of our relationship with the neighbors, whether they are members of ECOWAS or, as they are now, have actually exited the ECOWAS. Because exiting the ECOWAS does not take them away from being our neighbors. They're still our neighbors. So your neighbor, whether he shares your political aspirations or he's in the same camp as you, whether he is there or he is not, is someone that you have to be interested in the happenings within his country or within his space, because that will directly affect you. It will directly mean whether you are in peace or you're not in peace. So I think we have to take diplomatic measures. The fact that they are out of ECOWAS, or they have chosen, or they are under a military regime, we should have a way of engaging diplomatically, even if it's not directly. We don't have to agree completely with what they are doing, but we can still engage. You don't have to agree with someone to engage with that person. So there is need for engagement, even when they feel or they exhibit reluctance to engage with us in public.
Hello, Commander. Can you hear me?
But we are so tight that we cannot alternatives in a way that enlightens our interest, that there's stability in Niger, that there's stability in the other countries. So diplomacy is very important. I think they are coming to terms with what it is to govern. That it's not just about taking over leadership, but the ability to ensure that you provide for the welfare and the well-being of the people goes beyond the fact that grandstanding and saying that you cannot do anything with anyone. I'm sure with that reality setting in, there is a window of opportunity for engagement. There's a window of opportunity for us to reach out again and try to explore that brotherly links that are there. That's one. The second one is the fact that we as a country has to also engage in our border management. I saw an initiative that was set for that will ensure that there are more details that are gotten from would-be visitors to Nigeria. Now, we spoke, or I had that initiative. I hope it's not stopping only with our airports. It should also go to other ports and also other entry points to come into Nigeria. Then the third one is the joint patrols that we've had. Now, even though they are not part of ECOWAS, but I think in principle, they still believe that we share common security issues. That's why they are still in the multinational joint task force. So we can explore that and ensure that the joint patrols, the joint exercises, and the joint pursuit that we do of operations that we have against terrorism and that does not fail, does not cease to take place because of political differences. So some of this, and also ensuring for stability of Niger, it's important that we find ways of continuing with the trade that is ongoing between Nigeria, or at least border towns within Nigeria and Niger. That way, you are ensuring that the economic well-being of at least the states, the Nigerian states that are close to our own states across the border, have some level of stability. So I feel that we have to continue to engage. We have to look for avenues through which we will use the relationships that have been established over the years.
Okay, so comrade, you actually talked about border communities within Nigeria, and we know how much insecurity actually filters in through these borders. Now, he also noted that in 2024 Nigeria had the least number of attacks, and that farmers are going back to their farms. And he talked about Nigeria's border management being strengthened as well. Now, do you agree that there have been improvements in national security?
Well, generally, yes, there has been improvement, because if you look at the level of attacks, and I think he was assessing 2024, the fact is that there has been an uptick in attacks in 2025 from January to date, especially in areas that we had thought these attacks have completely ceased. I give you an example. In the Northeast, there is a kind of resurgence of Boko Haram attacking in the areas closest to the Lake Chad Basin and so on and so forth. But having said all that, there is in general, in totality, you find out that the insecurity is reducing, and we are having situations whereby people are returning back to their farms, not as pre-insurgency periods, of course, we have not reached there, but any little improvement is something to take note of, is something to appreciate for, but while pushing for more. More can be done, more can be achieved, and it is not time to start self-adulation or kind of self-praise and say that things have gone very good. Yes, they have improved, but we are not there yet. And we must be careful not to let the sin must not be taken for granted. So yes, there's improvement, but we are not there yet.
Comrade, are you still there with us? All right, so I'm told that Chidi has reconnected with us. Chidi, just before we lost you, you were actually speaking about, your thoughts on what General Musa has actually said, warning about, what might happen to Nigeria if these three countries, that's Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, do not go back to democracy.
You can hear me now. Can you hear me? Is it better?
Yes, I think I can hear you slightly. Please go ahead.
Oh, well, if you can hear me, I will try to say that what the general was talking about was, the result of what we call root cause analysis that we have conducted. Try to give us the background, the ground, and the thing that actually are responsible for the current insecurity in some region.
All right, Chidi, sincerely sorry, Chidi, but we still cannot make out what you're saying. Your device seems to be really, really, really bad. All right, comrade, Commander, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, Commander, now critics actually argue, that Nigeria's efforts in the border management are only a short-term fix. How sustainable are these initiatives if political instability continues in its neighboring states?
Well, the truth is, yes, you have to look at the extent of this border. You have to look at the interconnectivity between the communities within this border, or border towns or borders, and you have to look at even the level at which we technology. And again, we've had this being members almost basically walking and out without borders. So it takes some time to put in place a system that replaces what was in existence before to come with the reality that we're facing at the moment. And again, you have to look at the capacity of the agencies charged with the management, with the border management, where you have a situation whereby there is an utmost lack of use of technology, and there is a level of the incentives for the staff is not high, and honestly, the level of sorry to say, the level of I don't want to call it patriotism, but the level of commitment to duty is lacking in this within these agencies that are charged with that, and then the relentless effort or the relentless push of the fifth colonies to ensure that they undermine the security and the safety of these communities. So if you put these push and pull factors together, you find out that we still have a long way to go, and we have to step up to the reality of what is happening. And until we do that, we are going to be consistently and persistently being affected by the happenings in Niger, by the happenings in these other countries that, due to one reason or the other, are not intended or democratic by nature. And I want to emphasize that the democracy that we're talking about is not just about the issue of periodic elections, but about issues of good governance, about issues of ensuring that we have responsible and responsive governments, and about the issues of getting the dividends of democracy to go down to the smallest communities that need that. Until there is that effort on both sides of the border, we will continue to have these issues springing up, We'll continue to have security issues, and border control is going to be a nightmare.
Okay. Now, I think with this, we'd actually have to wrap up the show. Thank you so much, Wing Commander Musa Isah Salmanu, retired security and development expert in Abuja, Nigeria, for joining us and speaking to us on this. And sadly, we were not able to connect with Chidi Omeje, Security Affairs Analyst, due to poor audio. But we'll definitely, find ways to, speak on anything security and bring him back on the show. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me.